Things are just, if you think about it, we don't even really need
I
them.
tell you, with the way I've ascended with being grateful for just, it's like, whatever. I mean, now don't get me wrong. Obviously, I'm not going to keep treasured heirlooms by the leak in the ceiling. So it's like anything that's fucking over there, whatever. The strongest things survive. Welcome to episode 4. I believe it is. Is it 4? Yeah.
It's 4.
Of the podcast. I almost said the Mystic podcast because that's the other one.
The other one.
Yeah.
Here it's been a week.
With my co-host, Shelly.
What's up?
Week,
it's good to be here.
Day, month, year. But lately this week, though, the energy has been bananas.
You ever think about if the storms have anything to do with the energy, or?
Oh, I absolutely think they do, because think about it. In just the concept of gas, and we know gas can be moved by energy. I mean, put some colored oil in the water and blow. That's our weather. That's how we get weather. It's always. I mean, it's the time of year. It's where the sun is to us in our area. But this massive energy it gets tiresome. To me, anyway.
Yeah, it needs to calm down.
It's like the dragon needs to sit and take a nap. So I can just not have to be flushing, deflecting, doing whatever it is, because it changes literally day by day. Is it? I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
It's very tiresome.
It is very tiresome. Weird things are happening too.
Very weird things.
And somebody talks about that. Who talked about that recently that I seen? It could have been a TikTok-y thing. I don't know. But somebody talked about, a new guy. I think I may have sent you some of his videos. I think he's called the Ace.
Okay.
ACE. Very good looking man of color. Very deep voice. He's just soothing. I don't care.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah at me. I don't care.
I just want to hear you talk.
One of those things. But do listen to what he's saying. I'll try to find him so I can tag his info. He says things are going to be weird. We just, things are flipping. Bashar talks about it. And then we have this Jeremy Corbell weaponized documentary coming out at the same time.
Coincidence?
I don't know. I would wait till everyone's eyes were open.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, and Shelly, you're just newly familiar with it.
Like today years old, familiar with it.
Okay. So I guess the reason I'm so familiar and knew it was coming and knew all this, because I follow Stephen Greer. And it always throws other people in the algorithm of that. You understand what I mean? And so I knew, and of course, what was it, 2 years now when they did the UAP hearings. I was all into that. And Jeremy Corbell sat right behind Matthew Brown when Matthew Brown testified. Sat right behind him. In fact, I remember at the time, I think I went live on TikTok with one of the hearings. I said, that's Jeremy Corbell. They would not allow him to testify.
Really? So this is why he's whistleblowing now.
He's been whistleblowing over a decade. I was seeing his name come up in conversations back in what, early 2000s, 2006, 2010 specifically. And then he started getting some traction in 2015. So, I mean, but he wasn't somebody, because I'll tell you what, he's different. Greer is Mr. UFO, the aliens love us, be nice, blah, 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 which is fine. I don't agree so much with his philosophy.
Right.
I do understand. I do listen to what he says factually. But Corbell, well, I lost my train of thought. Number one.
Yep, it's the chaotic energy.
Tell me what you thought about what you watched now.
So, first of all, I noticed something because I saw I watched it on Spotify, and now I couldn't tell you what it is. I could send it to you so you could tag or whatever. But
it's probably the weaponized.
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So I listened to the first and I think half of the second, just because of time. But
the third is when your mind will be.
Yeah, like, and I could tell I was gaining up on this because I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So, and it's like anything else. You're in there. You're doing a job. Like, you're hired to do a job, right?
Right.
And something that he brought up, and something the person doing the interview had asked him was, "Were you the only person working on this?" And he goes, "Well, no, I was working in a group setting." But I still was never clear if he was the only person who had found that information.
He has no way of knowing
that. Okay. So that was my other thing.
What he said was he was working in a group. However, at any time you could be singled out.
Right.
And put on a project alone, and the rest of us would never know.
Right. So that's where he was in that. And then he kept he found this information about documents leaking that shouldn't be leaked. And he brought it to somebody's attention. Right. And then the first person I thought looked at it and was like, well, did you read it? And he didn't say yes or no. But the guy that he had brought to the attention basically threw him a bone. Like,
we're going to say you didn't read it.
Right. We're going to say you didn't see this. You don't know anything about it. And then let it go. And then it was gone. And then he came across it again.
So he took it to two. He didn't take it to the higher up next. He took it to next. And he goes, oh, I see somebody's having a joke.
Yep. Somebody's just joking around, or they thought it was a war game.
Yeah. He finally ended up at the top of the ladder. And the guy took the document. I can't remember. He didn't say much. Very little words were exchanged. He was dismissed. He went back to his desk just to bring the document up. Gone.
But what I noticed, and this is something that I noticed just across any whistleblower, and it could be from the government to the Diddy whistleblowers. Okay. When you are watching these people and their body language.
Yes.
Okay. Couple of things I noticed with that. And one, being an empath, you can usually tell when somebody's lying, like you just freaking know. And I'm one of those people, if I know you well enough, I can tell on the phone. Okay.
Oh yeah. And
it's just, that's just, I just know some people just know it. Some people don't see the body language. But something I noticed that he was doing the whole time he was talking and doing this interview is that he was circling around everything he was saying, never actually coming out and saying it.
He was picking his words very carefully.
Yes. And now bringing that up, that was, to me, that's his way of protecting himself, obviously.
No question.
And because you're seeing what happened to some of these people, right? So
yeah,
like, you got to be careful with what you say.
He even gave the government name for that, and I can't remember. I'm going to try to remember it. He gives the government name for that happening, and it's very.
But if
Go ahead.
you're seeing this, like
Yeah.
you're watching him talk, and you can tell that he is really concentrating on what he says. And so for a person of normal, like, thinking, they're not going to pick up on those cues and those things, so they're going to think this person's crazy, right?
No, no. And here's why I say no. Because he has everything to lose.
That's true.
He's got
That's
kids.
true. Yeah, that's true.
He was in the, see, now when you get into episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
he hadn't even made it all the way up the ladder yet. When
Right.
you were watching him, he had 2 or 3 other positions he still had to tell about. It's like, I'm sorry, but he's got too much to lose. Way too much. He would have to be crazy. I am telling you, he's not.
See, I don't know. I just, you see these people, and that's the thing. I don't think they're crazy. I don't think he's crazy at all. But the majority of the people in our country or whatever are going to look at him and be like, what is he talking about? Like, really? Like, you know what I mean? There's a group of people who are like that. They're not seeing, they don't have their eyes open yet.
What does that mean?
They don't get it.
It brings you to that, what is, what's it called? Because I haven't practiced the Christian religion in many years. What's it called when everybody gets called back at the end of days and all the souls get called back?
Oh,
but then the ones that left behind.
Armageddon, or
No,
that's
it's
like
not Armageddon. It's not the resurrection. I haven't practiced in so long. I can't remember what that name of that is.
Right.
But it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder.
It really does.
Because when you get into episode 3, he starts talking about what he read. And this is why I'm talking about it on the Peaceful Shifts channel, not because of the UFO stuff. What he read about this being a matrix, and what he read about, he describes the Anunnaki. He doesn't ever call them the Anunnaki. Mm-hmm. He describes them. He says, did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Oh. He describes them. This might, he describes them and their ship, and that they keep an entourage of humans with them.
Okay. That, I don't know that I got to that point, or I heard him say that.
That may have been in a TikTok I sent you.
Okay. And I did know that they do have documented of a time that they had, Russia was involved with being out in the waters.
Well, and that's what he says. At one point, I can't remember when, he says, look, this is not a United States thing. You need to be thinking bigger. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a global thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everything he says just fits right in with the collapse of the Matrix, with people seeing, with everything coming to light. He talks about what Bob Lazar. He says the same thing Bob Lazar said. Mm-hmm. I think I sent you that TikTok.
Mm-hmm. And that was part of the podcast too.
But it makes you, here is why this is important to us, and why we need to pay attention to at least this much of it. If you don't want to get into the political crap of it, fine. And if you don't want to get into the alien crap of it, fine. But you have a reality. Mm-hmm. He talks about technology. Did he talk about that in episode 2? Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. That we can't explain. That is the framework of this reality. Mm-hmm.
See, that is so, like, that is the hardest part that I have, wrapping my brain around all, because it all falls into
everything.
It's all interconnected. And I literally just had this conversation out on the driveway with my neighbor, to the point where I looked at him and I said, "Do you want to be on our podcast?"
Well, you should have. You should
because
have.
because I mean, he's got 4 kids. He's chasing
Here's the
around
guy
right
we
now.
found off the street.
Right. I just pulled him off of the street. No, but him and I have always had these like deep
You should
conversations.
have. Yeah.
But it's crazy because there's people who cannot even they can't even wrap their brains around something simple of an alien. Like, how can they exist? Like, how can your brain be so small?
Here's what I have to say to that. I don't have to be an electrician to know how to use electricity.
True.
I don't need to be a computer engineer in order to sit here and use my computer.
True.
Why do I need to wrap you tell me the effing government, the Pentagon, has a paper drawing out this matrix that I knew was here, and many before me knew, and I'm not the only one, but we're the crazy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I need to know. Because now I've taken over the program for this vessel.
And that was something that he had said. It might have been even in the first episode, but it was, once we know that we can do this.
They don't want us to know.
So I want to know how to do this. Like, that's where I'm at.
You start listening to people already doing it.
Mm-hmm. Who are the people?
You find them. They will organically come to you. I send you people all the time.
I know. I got to find these people.
Share.
Mm-hmm.
People who are my clients, I send them TikToks too. Here, you need to, people who are witch talk refugees. Mm-hmm. I'm like, here, let's change this algorithm, and I'll throw them. It's you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about this is a collective consciousness. We are, he says, he discusses, and this is kind of getting off a little bit, but it's important, I think. The different races of alien.
Mm-hmm.
And basically that we are precious to some and resources to others.
Right. And that I think I already knew from watching other
and that fits right into the Anunnaki narrative.
Mm-hmm.
There's theories. See, I'm getting off. This is for a different podcast. The main thing is, why are you freaking out about life? Because they're feeding you the coding.
Mm-hmm.
They want you freaking out about life. They want you worried. They want you scared. They want you
depending on them. They want you to be dependent on them.
Yeah. And you know what? Them is not the government. Here's the thing and this is kind of political and I don't want to go too far here, but he says, or he alludes to, the governments are built by people just trying to profit off of it in some way.
Oh, absolutely.
They're no more than us.
Mm-hmm.
They want to stay on top of the pile. That's all it is. They have no power over anything.
Mm-mm. No, I did find it wild though that it's a global thing. I mean, but I almost feel like I almost knew that already. Well, only because, and I don't know how much I should say, I have a very close family member who worked for a government agency who couldn't tell me, who had the highest security clearance a civilian can have. Okay. She could fly these aircrafts from her desk in St. Louis, Missouri. Like, it blew my mind all the way, in, wherever. Now, for a long time, I would think she was a little on the loony side. Some of the things she would say. And as if the things that came out of her mouth, just going back to watching the podcast and watching people's body language, they are very choosy on what they say, even though
they're telling you a lot, but they're just really not telling you a lot.
Right. Now she's retired. And since she's retired, I've heard a lot of interesting things.
Yeah.
Aliens are real. She's like, we're crazy to not think that they're not. She's like, I've seen them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure she has.
She's like, I've seen them. And she's like, and there's areas all over the country that they fly into. And like, she's like, it's every day. It's an everyday occurrence. We just aren't seeing it because we can't with our eyes, is what she's saying. Yeah. So it's like, it blows my mind that, because everybody in the family also thinks she's a little cray-cray, but she's not. She's absolutely not. But I also, I don't know. I don't think she knows everything either, because she can't. And because I think there's even more above the higher ups,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. This being literally the tippity tip of an iceberg that's unbelievably infinite. I don't need to know anything else. To me, I don't care. That's fine. The rest of it, I don't care. I now know the reality. I don't know what else is going to make people understand
that they have the power. It makes me almost think like going into the witch tax side of it, like the spells and things like that. Yes, those are intention. Those are, but if we all have the power here, why are we doing all these things when we can do it here? I mean, can we do it here?
Collectively getting together. Yeah. And sending the energy.
The telepathy tapes, this explains, this is what really got me into like the whole quantum and the other realms and that's what made me, like, I guess, understand and go there, was that podcast. And they meet each other. There are people who have met each other on different sides of the freaking earth, and they're friends. There's no other way they would have met. So it tells me that if they can do that, why can't we? I'm not saying let's not go intrude on their hill. I don't want to do that to them, because that's a lot of energy, and those are
because you're too plugged into the matrix. The matrix keeps you from doing it.
We have cords attached to us.
Yes. I've heard several people reference it in that exact way.
Yeah, we're just plugged in.
You're exactly right. Unplug. And it's not like you can just walk up and unplug yourself. It doesn't work that way. You've got to unplug, and it takes it's a series of, it's time, it's practice, and you don't understand it until you understand it.
It's like that remote viewing.
Yeah.
I feel like I can do that.
I would say that you probably can, what I know of you.
I feel like I can do that. But here's the question, though. Can you do it? Because I feel like I can do it in places I've never been. And there was something that I had heard that they said that there's.
I wouldn't say that in public.
What, that I can remote view? I mean, I can't. I don't know. See, that's the question. Am I remote viewing, or is it my crazy brain wanting to think I'm doing it? You know what I mean?
Verify the information.
Oh, I verify.
Well, if it's verified, if you verified it, then how are you arguing with verification?
Well, because I still had that inkling before I remote viewed.
What do you mean
I had an inkling of something before I remote viewed.
Well, that makes sense.
But then is it
intuitive?
Right. But is it, am I remote viewing, or is it my, you know what I mean? Like, how do you know?
Did it happen? Were you right?
Yes.
Then that's how you know. You know, I had this conversation with a friend of mine. I said, quit this narrative of, you didn't see that. That's not what that was. That was this over here. Quit that shit. If you verified the information, then it happened and you seen it before you verified the information. If you've seen it after it happened, then what would that be? That would be more like a psychic reading. That would be more, yeah. So why are you saying you don't know?
I don't, because I questioned everything. You know me. I question myself on everything. But there was validation. And there, for instance, somebody had an inkling of somebody that they're speaking to, and I was like, oh, and it was almost like like somebody told me exactly what was going on. I'm like, A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
A couple days later, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I get a text from my friend, and she's like, I just wanted to let you know that I'm giving you validation. A, B, and C, all true.
Mm-hmm.
But so then I was like, okay, then that's validation. If I don't get validation, sometimes I always question it.
Mm-hmm.
So how does one know? Like, all of this is opened up so much.
Well, yeah, because you are looking, you're dipping your toe into being able to hop timelines. This Ace guy, if I got his name right, I don't remember what his name was. He talks about that, and Bashar talks about that. Bashar talks about how part of this veil lifting is disruption in the timelines. And it can be easier than ever to change those timelines. I'm going to try to get on TikTok and see if I can find that guy's name.
So let me ask you this. So if the timeline is all the timeline, and we're all on this,
we should call it a lifeline, not a timeline, but go ahead.
Okay, so lifeline, and we're all living these, and it's basically consecutive, right? Or not consecutive, but like coinciding.
All at the same time, always. Yes.
So is my 60-year-old self doing something right now?
Apparently that is exactly how it works.
The fuck? Is my 60-year-old self even alive right now?
And there's an infinite number. And this freaking Matthew Brown in this weaponized, I'm getting more into 3, but tell me, it may have been the end of 2. He even talks about the Pentagon having papers drafting out, and it's all part of this. It's all part of this everything. Every choice you make takes you into a timeline or a lifeline.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, I picture everything in my head. Are you one of those people who can picture things and see things?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That blows my mind that there's people out there who cannot. Like,
it makes me sad.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, my mind can do so many cool things, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I'm trying to find. Okay, here he is. Okay, this one he goes by Headstrong. I might have 2 guys. Headstrong on TikTok. Check him out. Where is the other guy? I'm sure I sent that to you, didn't I? Oh, maybe I just liked it. Here, go to likes. Okay. Oh, no, not him. Go ahead. Talk while I'm looking. Okay, no, it's Headstrong. That's his name on TikTok.
Okay.
He talks about it. He talks about it in his TikToks.
Sometimes I want to jump a timeline and just go check on it and then come back to this one.
And see, that's where people get hung up with. Then why am I not getting what I want?
It's true.
Because,
you have to learn.
Because it's not about wanting things. It's not about having things. It's about it's going to freak people out when I say this. I'll probably get canceled.
You won't.
It's about being a receptacle of experience, which Bashar talks about. I'm not just talking out my behind. People talk about this. Being a receptacle of experience to feed whatever. And I think he talks about this. Are they being fed energetically? That has to be. He goes, yes.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do a lot of contemplating, don't we?
I've been doing a lot of affirming lately.
Yes. You have opened my eyes up to a lot of things, let me tell you.
And my whole point, with peaceful shifts and with everything that I've been doing has been just saying, just break out of it. Just quit accepting it. Just quit. All the freaking fear, all the worry, all the scare tactics. Gone. And if you're in a situation that you can't be gone from, they cannot do anything about what goes in here. And that's what people tell you over and over again, no matter who it is. They always say, nobody can do anything about what's in here.
Except for you.
They can control your actions. They can make you do things because you're the matrix puppet. But they can't make you mad about it. They can't make you mad. You make you mad. They can't make you happy. You make you happy. They can't make you sad. You make you sad.
Once we learn how to use it, though.
He talks about that. That's a big thing. And I am anxious to learn it. I'll be watching closely.
And it almost makes me, do you wonder if and I'm going to sound like a crazy person probably when I say this, but do you wonder like ChatGPT and the AI, do you wonder if AI is somehow connected to the conscious?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's here to distract. It's here to, it is that's kind of my opinion. It's my opinion based on what I've heard from other people. It's a tool to distract you and keep you plugged in, make you feel like, oh, I'm enlightened. Oh, look, look how smart I am. Oh, blah, 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 because GPT tells you what you want it to tell you. It's not going to say, what the hell? I mean, it's not going to do that. And in a clinical sense, that's a great fucking thing. Therapeutically, it's going to help millions of people because there are millions of people that have the deep, dark secrets. And it doesn't matter how open of a coach or a therapist or whoever you are, they're not going to talk about it, but they can there.
Yeah, but will they? There's things I wouldn't tell ChatGPT because I don't know where it goes to.
That's up to them. That's up to them. Okay. But it can be, but it is a distraction. It's literally a tool. It is not going to take over the world. Honey, the world's already took over.
No, it absolutely is.
This is, see, what we need to be careful of at this point, and Jeremy Corbell kind of talks about this. We need to be careful at this point of, what do they call that? Allied misinformation. When he interviews people, he talks about this, I think, in episode 1. He doesn't just, this Matthew Brown didn't just call him up one day and Jeremy Corbell go, oh, we're gonna go with this. He went through months of interrogation because this system, I'm just going to refer to it as that, is not above planting people into it.
Oh, right.
That goes with the spiritual system as well.
Interesting.
It's there to guide you. It's there to make you sound crazy. I'm going to be this what the hell ever, and everybody's going to think I'm crazy because you want to just sit and talk to me about what you're telling me. Act like you got sense, then people are going to believe you.
It's true. It's perception.
not perfection.
Right. Exactly. So I'm on episode 2 with Jeremy Corbell here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go to episode 3, so my mind's going to be blown.
Mm-hmm. He says flat out, we are in a dream. This is like a dream. And then he refers to it as the Matrix. And he talks about the technology that maintains the dream and how everything about society is built to reinforce this perception.
Mm-hmm.
See, you got to be when we're talking about things like this, and that's what I try to do. Sometimes it might make me sound crazier than I am, but I try to defluff the words get in the way with some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to say, and I'm really glad that he corrected himself and quit calling it a dream, because the dream alludes to not being real,
Right.
being woo woo, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, anytime I talk about this stuff,
Oh, yeah.
you have people who are like,
It's like, yeah, we're all in a dream. My dream sucks. I live in a
yeah,
nightmare, blah, blah. There's memes about it.
yep.
You got to separate from all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
what's he want everybody to know? You have no free will. You have no choices. Your thought of having free will and of having choices is BS.
Mm-hmm.
You got to unplug from the matrix to have that.
And how do you do that? I have to follow the cord.
You have to not be scared. You have to not. I jumped. Now, did any? Okay, so let's just take my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself in a position, and this position can come in many ways, so it's irrelevant how I found myself there, okay? Where I knew that I had to unplug from mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I worked for the government, okay? I took a big chance by quitting my job early like I did. But let me tell you, my ascension accelerated beyond once I just unplugged from that. That was the first plug. You have to understand, it's not just walk in, pull the plug.
Right.
There's a plethora of plugs.
Right.
And then I spent the next 5 years just relentlessly working on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to have money? Yes, we have to have money, obviously. We need to eat. We need to do things. Are you doing what you want to do to get that money? Are you willing to do it? I was.
Mm-hmm.
Once I did that, I then had to learn many lessons. Okay, if this is the choice you're going to make, then these are the things you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I regret having made those decisions with what happened? Not 1 minute. I lose no sleep in the thought of unplugging from the matrix. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into all the way. Now, I might privately with you, but I'm not going to go into all the ways I have unplugged. Because obviously,
I think we all have different plugs. We all have different plugs.
We do have different plugs, and some of them are illegal to unplug from.
Mm-hmm.
The matrix is no joke. It's not some wuss. It protects itself.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of getting weird.
Yeah. I was like, how does one completely just have
So
unplug?
you go off. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people go off grid.
Yeah.
Some people, that's how they do it. Everybody does it differently. You have to follow. Here's the thing. I can't tell you how to do it. I can only tell you my experience because you are your own sentient being. You have, just like Shelly said, you have your own plugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've got to figure out what's keeping you plugged in and decide to unplug and not be scared to unplug from it. And that comes from loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from being thankful for the things you have and just, and that comes from being, the energy you put out into the universe.
Exactly.
Okay. The opposite of everything else. I quit watching. I do not. He tells you the news. He says, if you're watching CNN, NBC, and if you're reading the New York Post, it's all propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
I quit.
Mm-hmm.
I watch the weather and they're even wrong.
I mean, here lately, that's all I have been watching.
Yeah. I get my news elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Another plug from the Matrix.
It's true.
You see what I'm saying? This isn't a dramatic, crazy thing.
This is pulling little by little.
It's pulling little by little, and it's mainly you've got to love yourself enough. You've got to understand who you are and what this is and what it is you can create.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to do the things to create what you want?
There was something on a podcast today that I listened to that was about money. It was on Mel Robbins, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a guy on who was the LinkedIn guy. I think he started something with LinkedIn back when it first started.
Right.
You have to understand, I'm working as I'm listening to these podcasts too. So something he had said, generous people, something that people who have money and people who seem happy, I mean, they're not always happy, but they show happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who have money are typically generous people because what they're giving out, and it's like an energy exchange.
Yes, the universe, it's karma.
It's providing for them because they're helping. So and that is, to me, it could be with anything, not just money. I mean, it could,
kindness. It could be time. It could
respect.
be respect.
Mm-hmm. It's all an energy exchange, and we talked about that on a previous episode. But it's all an energy exchange.
And right now, if you're plugged into this matrix, you're in an energy exchange.
Mm-hmm. So you're getting. See, let's go back to CNN.
That's why because you're exchanging energy with the. I don't know. They're keeping you in this thought pattern. You unplug from that and start exchanging energy with the universe like you're supposed to, which means yourself.
Take away
then you learn your power.
Exactly.
And you understand, there's no reason for me to there's no reason for me to be any way I don't want to be about any particular situation. If I am being crazy, or crying, or whatever, I must be choosing to be that way for whatever reason.
It's true.
Okay. And when I find myself there, I go, why is this happening? I don't want to do this. And I change it. I quit it. And I do whatever I have, when people go, well, you just quit it. No. I go outside and ground. I'll go listen to some music so I can push the energy through. I'll raise my frequency out of it and resonate elsewhere. But I flag it. It's not that, and that's what I'm saying. It's perception, not perfection. It's not that you're just happy all the time. I'm disgustingly. No. But I'm only going to be mad for a second. And it's not going to affect my life. It's not going to ruin my life. I'm not going to make bad decisions because I'm mad. I'm not going to make bad decisions because I'm sad. And I recognize how that really pissed you off and process it.
Wish everybody was like that.
It takes, you don't just get like that.
Right. World would be a lot better place. Just saying.
But this is what we can do is once we learn these skills, even if you don't have to be a master of it. Even if you partially are halfway through learning these skills, start telling it to your kids. Why are we not telling it to our kids? Because they have us disassociated from each other.
Right. And something like, for instance, because mine were at 12 and 16, they think when I'm talking to them about, like the universe and, alien, they have a hard time. They're like, Mom, like, what do you, like, what do you know? Or how,
Oh, yeah.
like, they want to question everything. And I think that part of that is because they have to learn first other things before they can even open up that part of their mind.
Right. I would agree with that. And which is why you just start treating them that way from the get-go.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
I might have sent you a TikTok of a mom going crazy on their kid. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally me. And it's like the mom that will go to the very worst extreme of things that could happen. This is why I tell you this, A, B, and C, that I get crazy. And I don't remember my mom ever getting like that. I do think that society's feeding our kid, or not just our kids, but I think everyone, this
rage,
bad information, things to make you think bad about others,
ugliness,
like internet trolls, even like that. Some of this stuff is I have never, and I will say this, I have never had a single hater except for till recently. So it makes me wonder, because I don't go after people on their pages. I don't,
there's I just so scroll much by, block. If they're that bad, I'll block them. Scroll by. I mean, whatever.
Right. If I don't like your TikTok, guess what? I'm just not going to say anything and just boop, scroll up again.
Yeah.
But there's so much rage being pumped into our society, and and misinformation, and I mean all this stuff, and deleting information, not telling us the whole picture, and throwing other things in our faces for us to see this but not that. And it's just, as a society, we should just and maybe unplug that for a moment. Those little things.
Yeah, quit watching TV. Quit watching the news. Quit watching the news. Watch the weather. Maybe local. What's going on in town.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something. The TikTokers that are on these, that are like weather buffs, I'm going to tell you, there's I have to find his name, but I think his name was maybe Alan. I don't remember. Alan just popped in my head, but he alerted thousands of people in St. Louis on last Friday.
Wow.
That there is a tornado on the ground. And I'm going to tell you, it was before our sirens went off.
The guys on YouTube, that's the way that, I watch them. So, if I've got major tornadoes coming through, I'm on YouTube.
And you can, what was great is I have both of my kids are very like freaked out over the weather, and as they should be. We just had a tornado, like, right down the road.
Yeah.
Literally. And then this weekend, I've never seen one hit St. Louis the way it hit. I've never in my life.
Old buildings.
Those trees were so, I mean, in Forest Park, those trees, I've never, the zoo's never closed. Like, these are like these weather phenomenons. I realize that it happens, right? Like, I never.
The activity, though, that's, you have to understand, our sun is ramping.
Right.
Ramping. And that's why our energy is so chaotic. We're sad one minute, man. I mean, it's like bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah, and then that's so you have that. You have you have all this information coming at you constantly, and you're filtering. We're one big filter. Then we have the outside stuff like the sun that we can't control. No wonder people are crazy. If they could just unplug a minute, we could
Mhm.
pull together and be like,
I tell
whoa.
you, I don't scroll TikTok. I like scroll TikTok for maybe 30 minutes a day. And that is to get
Sorry.
on my friends list, see what's happening, like, stuff. And then I'll go over my algorithms nice and clean. My major favorites usually come up within a first, and then I'm off. I'm off. I'll throw something. Spirit will tell me, you need to talk about this, or somebody might need to hear this. I do the grateful vlog. That's it. Quit the doom scrolling.
The rabbit holing.
It's like,
I'm a rabbit holer.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm probably not as bad as you. I am a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there was a case I was following because of a TikToker, and it's something that affected her family, that I literally started with Post-its, okay, with the information, so I could like keep it all straight. I did that with another podcast that I was listening to. I mean, just sometimes I get into it,
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Entertainment.
That's my rabbit holing. Absolutely. I'm thinking about.
But I tell you what, that makes you sharp. It really sharpens your discernment by doing things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It sharpens your discernment. Even if it's just a fun thing. And that's not a bad thing.
No.
Not a bad thing. But just doom scrolling and mindlessly, and stay out of the drama. Get away. Let me tell you, that's Matrix shit. That's Matrix shit all over the place. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And I don't care how crazy I start sounding.
No, it is. It's just, I think it's filler. It's filler.
It's filler. It's to keep you engaged in this defense mechanism. And if it's not that, it's gossip and ooh, what's happening now?
Yeah.
What the heck? How is that serving you?
It's not. You could be using that energy.
Keeping you sucking your energy.
Yeah. Energy vampires.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I hope everybody takes time to watch this documentary, and I'll have it tagged in our thing below.
Yeah. I mean, just search Jeremy Corbett, right?
Mm-hmm. Corbell. But I'll tag his YouTube in the description of this, so they can go right there, because he's got a lot of stuff. He's been a guy for a while. I mean, he's been on here for a while. But just what he says about our reality and our perception, that is what really, all the other stuff, I don't even care. Mm-hmm. What the government's doing, whatever, because I have unplugged from so much and continue to unplug from so much. Mm-hmm. That I don't even care. But I do care about proof of what I've been being told, what I've studied about, all of it.
Mm-hmm. Validation.
Mm-hmm. And this guy has everything to lose.
Yeah. No, I believe him.
Stephen Greer, even though I don't agree with his philosophy, he has everything to lose.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Yeah. Did you
Why
hear
would they
that?
put it up? Yeah, I did. I totally did. Sounds like you got an email.
No. Well, I don't know. The Immaculate Constellation. That's what the system is called.
Interesting. Immaculate
Constellation.
Okay.
Think grid.
Think Immaculate Conception.
He says that he read SAP Pentagon papers saying Jesus was genetically modified. He was immaculately conceived.
Yeah, absolutely. He has one form of DNA.
For a reason.
Yeah, and he's an O negative blood type, which was never on the earth before. It's not of the earth.
There were Pentagon papers documenting, and he's not the only one. He's not the only one.
Yeah, and what was crazy, they did a study, I think, when they found, like, I think his tomb, right? Where they literally tested the blood, and it's not possible
I
for
think
blood
I found that. Yeah. It was like,
to go back to that whatever, and how they tested it, but it did. I don't know. And once I know a
he
lot about
says
RH.
everything. He says everything. It's all everything. Like, you can just forget everything you think you know.
Yeah.
Just forget everything you think you know. It's a lie. All lies.
And had we just all known everything from the beginning?
Huh?
Hadn't we just all known everything from the beginning?
I think that's why societies rise and fall. I think we start waking up and they take us out.
Oh, I could see that. Oh yeah, because
and then they can put in the amnesia code, clear everybody's minds, and we start cracking rocks again.
Cracking rocks. So excited.
And it's not gonna happen. I'll be gone.
Yeah, me too. I hope my ancestors come and take me away.
Yeah, well, in this whole, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so if there are lifelines, it's like they aren't our ancestors. Are they our spirit team?
That's a good way to think about it, though. Why couldn't they be?
Or even guides? Because not everybody on your spirit team comes over
at the same time.
And you get into a whole bunch of conspiracy at that point.
Are you seeing the things moving around in my brain right now?
Trap.
Well, no. Now we brought up spirit guides. Okay, we brought up these spirit guides. Now think about this. What if they are? What if they are? Because what if we are in what if the Matrix is like, okay,
what keeps us from communicating with them?
Right.
And the more you unplug, the clearer your communication gets. We know this.
Yeah.
You need to look at it for what it is. You've got to unplug. There's a reason that these people who walk with a foot on each side live with nothing. They have gotten rid of all earthly attachments.
It's not even needed.
No.
I work remote half the time. I don't really need a whole lot at my desk. Yeah, is it nice to have my rocks nearby because I think they're pretty?
Things are things. Yeah.
But and when it all comes down to it, what do I actually need? My laptop.
Yep. I mean, if I want to continue making money and eat, I need my phone.
Well, yeah, I got to have my phone and my laptop.
My laptop, yeah.
But I mean,
yeah.
I don't need all the things. I can just be plugged into that one. I see. I am the person who has to put it into like, I don't know why it just fell.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a lot to contemplate.
It is
a lot, and I think we'll probably talk about it more. We'll have to.
We'll have to because there's so much.
We're out of time now, but man,
time flies when we're having fun.
I'm telling you, you need to go watch it. I'm not telling you to believe in UFOs. That's not my thing. I believe in what I believe in. I'm here to help you peacefully shift away from the Matrix. And you can do it.
Don't think so small.
Don't think so small. That's a good thing to leave it with. We're going to leave it there.
Right on.